Hurricanes by Gail Gibbons. The winds are howling, the rain is pouring down. Violent waves are crashing onto the shore. A dangerous spinning storm has formed over tropical waters. It is a hurricane. Hurricane comes from huracan, the name for the ancient Mayan god of the big winds. All hurricanes form over tropical waters. Warm water evaporates and rises into the atmosphere. The warm, moist air spins upward, creating a draft that sucks up more moisture. If the water temperature is more than 81 degrees Fahrenheit or 27.2 degrees Celsius, the cycle continues. Winds get stronger. As the moist air rises, cumulonimbus clouds are formed. Evaporate means that water turns into moist air. The rising air creates even more of an updraft. Even more moisture rises, creating even larger cumulonimbus clouds that hold even more water. The spinning of the air accelerates, which means it goes faster. Even larger groups of cumulonimbus clouds continue to build up. Condensation causes rain. When the speed of the wind reaches 74 miles per hour, or 119.1 kilometers per hour, the storm is classified as a hurricane. Condensation occurs when the moist, warm air cools and turns into rain. Most hurricanes are about 100 miles or 160.9 kilometers to 300 miles or 482.8 kilometers wide. The center of a hurricane is called the eye, which is clear and calm. It may be 10 to 20 miles or 16.1 to 32.2 kilometers wide. The strongest winds in a hurricane are those closest to the eye of the storm. This area is called the eye wall. Most hurricanes form over the Atlantic Ocean north of the equator. They usually last about a week and travel on a course that is very difficult to predict. Many hurricanes have devastated cities and towns with strong winds. Usually there are heavy rains. Sometimes there is hail. Storm surges cause the greatest damage. They are huge walls of water forced up out of the sea, devastating everything in their path, and on occasion, altering the shoreline itself. In 1972, Herbert Safier and Robert Simpson developed the Safier-Simpson hurricane scale. This scale ranks hurricanes in categories of 1 to 5. It has permitted meteorologists at the National Hurricane Center to predict the likely impact of an approaching hurricane. The National Hurricane Center is located in Miami, Florida. Meteorologists are scientists who study the weather. Category 1 hurricanes have wind speeds between 74 and 95 miles per hour, or 119.1 and 152.9 kilometers per hour. There may be a storm surge of up to 5 feet, or 1.5 meters. There is some damage to trees and small buildings. Category 2 hurricanes have wind speeds between 96 and 110 miles per hour, or 154.5 and 177 kilometers per hour. There may be a storm surge of up to 8 feet, or 2.4 meters. Coastal roads flood and there is moderate damage. Category 3 hurricanes have wind speeds between 111 miles and 130 miles per hour, or 209.7 and 178.6 kilometers per hour. There may be a storm surge of up to 12 feet, or 3.7 meters. Trees are uprooted, large cars and trucks are swept away. There is extensive damage to buildings and boats. Category 4 hurricanes have wind speeds between 131 and 155 miles per hour, or 210.8 and 249 kilometers per hour. There may be a storm surge of up to 18 feet, or 5.5 meters. The damage is devastating. Buildings suffer extreme damage. Roads and bridges are washed away. Boats are tossed about like toys. Category 5 hurricanes have winds greater than 155 miles per hour or 249 kilometers per hour. Winds have been recorded as high as 318 miles per hour or 511.8 kilometers per hour. Storm surges may be greater than 18 feet or 5.5 meters. There is massive flooding and destruction. Hurricanes come ashore. Most hurricanes do their damage in the Caribbean and along the Gulf Coast and the southeast coast of the United States. Most hurricanes are Category 1 or 2. Category 5 hurricanes are rare and have reached land on an average of once every 5 years. Some hurricanes throughout history. In 1900, the biggest city in Texas was Galveston. On September 8, a huge hurricane struck. The storm surge was 20 feet, 6.1 meters high. It totally destroyed the city, killing about 12,000 people. Scientists later classified it a Category 5 hurricane. After crossing the Bahamas, Hurricane Andrew hit Florida south of Miami with winds up to 195 miles per hour or 313.8 kilometers per hour. This was Hurricane Andrew on August 24th, 1992. At that time, it was the costliest hurricane in US history. Most of the damage was done by the fierce winds. Originally classified a Category 4 hurricane, it was later reclassified a Category 5. Hurricane Katrina, August 2005. The most damaging hurricane in US history was Hurricane Katrina. It started in the Bahamas, then crossed southern Florida as a Category 1 hurricane. On August 29th, it made its second landfall in New Orleans as a Category 5 hurricane. Storm surges resulted in the flooding of 80% of New Orleans. More than 1 million people had to evacuate, and nearly 1,800 people lost their lives. Catastrophic damage was done all along the coastlines of Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. To evacuate means to leave and seek safety in another place. Forecasting and tracking hurricanes. Meteorologists gather information about hurricanes from many sources. Satellites measure the size of a hurricane and can help tell how fast and in what direction a hurricane is moving. Airplanes are flown into hurricanes by pilots known as hurricane hunters. Special instruments on the planes measure wind speeds, temperatures, air pressures, and the amount of moisture in the clouds. An airplane passes through one side of a hurricane, then through the eye and out through the other side. Hurricane hunters are members of the Air Force Reserve. All of the storm's details are gathered and fed into computers, which are pre-programmed with computer models of previous storms. This helps scientists make a new computer model that predicts the size and strength of the storm and what land may be in its path. A storm watch is a notice that tells people in a certain area that a hurricane might hit within 36 hours. A hurricane warning is a notice telling people that a hurricane is likely to hit within 24 hours. One flag means storm watch. Two flags mean hurricane warning. These predictions help determine if an area will need to be evacuated. When necessary, the National Hurricane Center will issue storm watches and hurricane warnings that are made public on radio and television. The U.S. Coast Guard raises flags. In 1953, weather officials started naming hurricanes after women, with the first storm of the season being given a woman's name beginning with the letter A, the second storm a name beginning with the letter B, and so on. In 1979, men's names started to be used as well. The names of some of the worst storms have been retired and will not be used again. Andrew and Katrina are two of these. Many hurricanes may be forming at one time. Giving them names makes it easier to track them. When a hurricane is approaching, there should be a plan to evacuate, which means to leave. Everyone should know the route. Have a battery-powered radio on hand to hear all alerts. Select a person outside the hurricane area who can inform other family members of your status. Pick up loose items in your yard and put them away. They can become dangerous in strong winds. Try to have an adult help you. Cover the windows of your house with plywood to prevent flying glass. Turn off the electricity to your house before you evacuate. Take care of your family pets. Make sure your family supply kit is ready. Make sure you have water, non-perishable foods, flashlight, fresh batteries, first aid kit, battery-powered radio, rainwear. More interesting facts. Hurricanes north of the equator rotate counterclockwise. Hurricanes south of the equator rotate clockwise. Cyclones are hurricane-like storms that form over the Pacific Ocean. Typhoons are hurricane-like storms that form over the Indian Ocean. Signs mark evacuation routes. The deadliest storm on record is a cyclone in Bangladesh in 1970. More than 300,000 people died. The evaporation of about 2 billion tons or 1.8 billion metric tons of water a day can occur while a hurricane is building up over the ocean.